friends. I am going to be sharing over this weekend, a little bit about how to practice yoga all day, every day, and anywhere. You know what I mean? I actually was doing my meditation this morning, and I was thinking about different ways that I want to share what this workshop's going to look like. You know what I mean? Like, what you're going to take away from it. And I also want you to know, like, what speed I'm at. And then I really encourage you to choose your own speed. But if you're not there yet, I have a lot of really great suggestions, and this is one of them. So I was thinking back to when I first started practicing yoga, and I was thinking about, gosh, what were the most helpful things, right? First of all, I picked a great teacher. Thank God for Heather. Thank God for Heather. I thank God for Heather every single day. Best teacher I could have ever asked for to let me feel safe in my body and begin this unraveling. Totally safe, lovely space. A lot of us can't get out of our house, and our home is a really great space to build a sanctuary of that sort. And I think that in this group, we can do that together because, first of all, as the leader, guide, teacher, trainer of the group, that's what I believe with my heart. And as the holder of the vibration, which is what I'm asking myself to be, which is what I'm showing up to be and what I'm feeling called to be, I just want to show, like, in real life, how to make my experience happen to you in your body as quickly as you can allow it. And that means that maybe you only need to practice this for a couple of weeks and you have it. And maybe you don't stay in my yoga workshop forever. And that's okay. Like, I keep thinking about this, about how I do in my healing sessions, and sometimes I often find myself feeling a little abrasive, and because I'm usually channeling messages when I'm in a session, and the words feel more direct than when I would be speaking, especially when it's to someone that I know or that I know is in a painful space. But I have always been able to trust that if these words are coming out in that zone, that they are meant to be heard by the hearing person. So that's where I'm at with this. I wrote down this morning, I was thinking, today's the last day I want to teach about the solar plexus. That's our, let me get my little notepad so I can just remind myself. Because I like to say my little talking points in my mind, but sometimes I think it's fun to recap and sort of refresh. And then it gives you guys a chance to select nuggets that you like for yourself that you could maybe connect to that specific chakra. Right now I'm in the coffee chakra. Oh God, it's so good. Okay, so I just got a little notebook that I made right when we first started learning about chakras, and I clipped out this little grid. It seemed really easy. I will say that it's new. If this is a whole new process, anything from taking the yoga class to wanting to experience the natural weight loss or the manifesting, or reaching for happiness, peace, a little bit of healing from any number of traumatic past things, space with addiction, there's a lot of things that I've done myself. So if any of those are new to you and you're wanting, I like to start out with treating something like it's new. Well, first thing we do is we would notice it, and not to judge it, just say, okay, I want to know more about this, and notice that feeling in your body. Make a little notes. And that's the other thing. With anything new, I like to say make notes. Make notes however that makes sense to you. I don't have an easy time writing, even though it's a very powerful tool. So if you can write. Even if you can't write, learn to find a way to doodle or connect the pen to paper. As a person who doesn't always connect with my alphabet the way that I feel I am supposed to, the writing is really discouraging as the reading. So sometimes for me, it's easier to just skim and translate through intuitive message. Does that make sense? And so let's go back to the notes. I'm trying to see if I had a date when I did any of this. Oh God, so this is when I was, hold on. There was a time, oh no, maybe this is not it. Oh, check it out. Oh. This is so fun. Oh, day one. Oh my God, guys, I've been doing this work for so long. All right, I'm trying to see a date. Just so I can have a year. I don't think it's going to be on here. So, but this is just like the beginning. My notes. Sometimes they were pictures. Sometimes they were images and words inside. Sometimes, oh, this is the day I decided I'm doing yoga teacher training. That was awesome. Do you see how excited that just looks? That was all how I felt. This was a day when I was doing like grid work where you'd write words and feel them. Still trying to look for a date. I'm assuming this was in the first year when I was trying to do everything by, this is day number 75. I got over that quickly, but man, it was like 100 some days before I got over it. So let's see. Anyway, the chakra. Let's get back to solar plexus for Nancy gets distracted because she does that so well. The Manipura. This one is associated with pleasure, willpower, digestion, structure, vitality, and harmony. It's connected with the element of fire and the color yellow. Wow, I love that it reminds me of the connection to pleasure. I always think pleasure was shocked with the sacral, but that's sensuality, which is not quite the same. It's because I think every human, let's not go there. Okay. So pleasure, confidence, willpower, self-esteem. I love that it mentions the color yellow and element fire. I like to think of the sun in our belly when I think of the solar plexus. And that is one of the first chakras I like to teach on when we first start looking at that. It's right in the middle of our body. It's easy to remember. You know, I like to call it our heart, or our heart of the universe, because the connection to like the umbilical cord and how the birth process is as much spiritual as scientific. I mean, I know that we all think that we know what just happens, like ta-da, but there are things cosmically that do go into that process. And until that baby is born outside of your body, that is still a wholly aligned spiritual being. Until it takes its first breath of air into our land, it's its own little like dimensional, let's not get there either. So we'll talk about the different energy bodies. We'll talk about how to notice when you're feeling things in your body. We'll start with the solar plexus. So when you're not feeling yourself, so say for example, you are in a relationship and you are constantly repeating this pattern. Like for example, when it's time to go for dinner, maybe you really always want to have this, but you never say that because you know your partner doesn't really like that. Or you know your partner is more particular, so you never really exercise your choice to what you'd prefer because you're always conceding, sort of. This might be a call to like say, well, why don't you think you deserve to also enjoy the food that you would like to enjoy? Or maybe the option would be to suggest 2 places. You know what I mean? Like, and not to say that it's a thing to fix, but I think often we get stuck in loops and we think that's the way to do it because it's easiest. But my latest thing for my own realization is there's always option C. There's always option C. There is always option C, and that is when we align with our higher power and just let it come out. When we stop fucking meddling, simmer. We stop tampering. When we just let the whole alignment come in, right? And it's like, oh, what does option C look like? You know, it doesn't look like A, it doesn't look like B. Neither of those have been working quite well. Or we wouldn't be looking for option C, or we wouldn't be looking for an option anymore. We'd already had the answer, and then we're exercising that. And that's kind of what I connect with solar plexus, is the decisiveness. This is what I want because this is what feels good to me. You know what I mean? this is like, and I know like that does, it is very much down into like the sacral and the root chakra, like the lower, but I feel like in my body, learning this energy center space and working to soften this made it easy to flow higher. And because yoga is moving and we're going to be talking and moving first, I just want to talk about the things that are connected to the moving energy bodies. Like yoga is a subtle practice, but I do want to talk about those more gross, tangible chakras in our body as we're kind of introing. So it's going to be a lot of like things. So if any of the time that you're hearing stuff, keep a notepad and just write down the word. Write down the time, because I'm going to record live in our room for the lessons, for the yoga, for the pose of the week, for the dance suggestions, or they could just be movement. It doesn't have to be dance. I'm happy to share songs if you guys like that idea. I'm also happy and excited to like get this ball rolling a little, and come next cycle, anyone that wants to go farther, if they want to help me build into the next poses for that month, or if there are things that you're wanting to explore, like, oh my God, this was really good, how do I make this go deeper in my body? That's the kind of stuff like I like about the group, that whole interaction. We can kind of help build, because I don't really plan the practice, but that does bring me back to my actual long-winded point of the day. When you're first starting out, taking notes is really helpful, and you don't have to be on the yoga mat to be practicing yoga. It counts anywhere. You summon the mind-body connection and perform yoga. Perform, not the right word, practice yoga. So today, because I was thinking about the solar plexus and I was thinking about what poses I would think when I connect to that, because I wanted to share those poses. I thought about the wide-legged stance, goddess pose, squat. This is for me because I was wanting to lead from the solar plexus down into the sacral. And then Superwoman, which is Superman pose, but and also locust pose. Is that right? Anyway. Bow, and then the folds and splits. So I just kind of wrote some things down to just make suggestions. And then I thought the best way for me to kind of also show that is to show like how that plays into every day. So this morning I was on the couch and I was getting off the couch, and the couch is a mess, but because this is real life, I'm going to leave the couch a mess, because today is Saturday and I'm going to clean this couch, but right now it's so messy. So this morning I was on the couch and I ended up like sliding like this, and instead of just getting up right away, I just kind of let it relax, and I just started letting it open up to be like a what is this? You know how like bow pose, you lay on your belly? So that's another thing. To me, adapting yoga into your everyday life and starting to teach it when your body isn't used to going into these beautiful like poses, like you see people when they're doing the fullest expression, like on the ground or on like one toe. I like the idea of changing the plane. And this definitely is something that I learned in teacher training, which is where I was supposed to learn that. I don't know why I'm saying these things. Don't listen to me. So I like the idea of taking advantage. So like when I'm at the sink doing dishes, I will use that countertop and stretch my back. So I can be really high playing in plank, down dog, chaturanga, and then even going on to do support for standing for like tree, birds of paradise, like literally just holding onto the counter. And because of my one foot not having that full balance, and I am magically am blessed to have a counter on each side now, like I kind of like just sit there and it'll be almost like a handle, like a railing. And I will practice some of the balancing poses there in the kitchen. But here I was on the couch, so I just kind of let the heart open and my arms were reaching here. And I was leaning all the way, I was all the way like this. So I just let it start to open up, and I just laid here. Took a couple deep breaths. I did some arm exercises because I'm still working on my elbow. And I even pushed to work into like, what is this guy? The bow. And just did a little bit of that. Not bow. I feel like, oh, wheel pose. I haven't actually practiced yoga yet, so my words aren't working. But you know what I mean. Taking advantage of where you are. So, oh, this one is one of my favorites, and it's weird. I'm still saying it. It's really one of my favorites. We're in the potty, right? I'm going to be nice to you and show you this on the couch. I've really thought about doing this on the potty many times, but I'm literally pottying in that thing. That's kind of grody. So, sitting on the potty, right? Usually our feet are on the floor flat. This nice 90-degree angle. Take a minute while you're there. Sit up nice and tall. Engage mountain. Body, top. Press the toes, big toes. Root into your seat, right? And then practice a little like chair pose. While you're sitting here. You're just sitting here for a minute anyway, you know what I mean? Let the body just take advantage of this very aligned, safely seated, supported structure. I mean, you're going to be there for a minute anyway. So another thing I like to do, gross, too much information, still sharing. There is a big connection between our jaw and our very low lady bits and the release. So a lot of times when I pee, I like to take a deep breath in and like release. And it literally feels like the pee falls out harder. Not really relevant, but it's another way to just like honor like, whoo, relief. Because that's a space that also wants its time, like anger, like happiness. And I think that those segments like the bathroom, as when I first was learning and teaching self-care, the bathroom moments were where it was at. Brushing the teeth. Does anybody remember me crazy brushing my teeth and using the other hand and saying things? Remember? Like it all started there because in my head, that was the only time I felt like I had a minute. And I wasn't even necessarily alone to go potty, but usually I had that minute to brush my teeth. Now I realize that kind of taking and dissecting those segments and letting them all be important and acknowledged and not rushed over to the next thing, which is never ever satisfying because I didn't practice being satisfied getting there. I don't even got words right now. That just came out so nice. I love when that happens. The segments, man, are so important, and that's why I like to teach yoga all day. So when it's feeling frustrating, instead of letting the frustration happen, well, what yoga pose could I do right now? Look around. Maybe you're in the living room and you're on the edge of the couch and you want to sit in a seated mountain pose and just engage mountain pose. This is a seriously strong pose. Engaging the feet, hugging the shins together, rooting the sit bones, sitting tall, relaxing the jaw, relaxing the whole face. Inhaling, open the heart, let the hands open forward. And just really drop it in. Mountain pose, like, and I always thank Allie for mountain pose, but, and I can totally share that video if you guys don't have that already. I feel like I've shared it a billion times, but like just teaching how to engage all that. That's what I want us to do, like when we're doing the pose of the week. We'll break down and talk about toes. These toes work here. Hug the shins in like this. Lift the thighs up, and then we're going to explode them out. You know, I like to kind of carve my tailbone under and then reset it because I have I have curves here. So I got to like work it out. And, like kind of like activate mountain. And that's like active. When I first thought I was doing mountain pose, I'd be like, here I am mountaining, standing up tall. But I wasn't engaging my back. I wasn't engaging the torso. I was just standing there. And actually that was one of the first spaces I learned to do this in walking, was learning to use my toes to walk. I know you guys see me going crazy about all the feet stuff. This has a lot to do with that. The connection to our, we'll go there later. Where are we at? We're 20 minutes. We're going to be done. This is just a long-winded way of introducing, and I'll probably edit these one day, but today not. I don't have the time because I'm so excited to bring all this information. We're just going to have to weed through it as we go. This is just a way to start showing you how it's going to look in the courses. How, sometimes it's the steps. Oh gosh, guys, the steps Do you know how many amazing poses up hard in the mess? It's Saturday, we're cleaning. Okay, here's the steps, right? Can you see my step? Before I go, I'm gonna do this. Our steps, look how I can be like almost supported laying down and my back is aligned and I'm like in a plank, right? My hands, I can check where my hands are, my arms, my shoulders, I'm in plank. Now I'm in like up dog or cobra, right? Stepping up, depending on where your comfort level is. Fold. How good is that? You can cushion, you know? And this seems silly. This doesn't feel like you're doing yoga, but this is how you do yoga all day. It's by taking your whole space and look at this forearm. Open up the side. I just did a whole yoga flow on the steps. I didn't, but I did, you know? And that's the cool thing about our minds, and we get to have these fucking magnificent focusing mechanisms. When we just pretend, when we just go there, my brain thinks I've done yoga for like 17 hours today. Voila! Yoga body for you. And no, maybe this isn't the perfect idea of a yoga body for you, but I'm pretty pleased with myself. I'm really happy in my skin. And that's what I want for every single person that wants that for themselves. I don't want to tell everybody there how to get it easier without beating ourselves up and abusing ourselves and taking away the chocolate. Stop fucking with the chocolate, friends. And if you don't like chocolate, you can pick something else that's your chocolate. You know, probably not. Shut up, Nancy. Ooh, we're getting good. All right, I'm going to go. 21 minutes, 39 seconds. I love you so much. We'll be back soon.